After World War II, the world faced an impossible question. How do you deliver justice for crimes beyond imagination? The answer became the Nuremberg Trials, the world's first international war crimes tribunal. Told in documents, testimony, and law, not vengeance. Justice had to be seen, and it had to be fair. A world in need of a new justice. How does a world heal from a wound so deep it scars a continent? After years of war, this question echoed through rubble and the silence of empty homes. The fighting had stopped in 1945, but the pain had not. Millions were dead. Millions more were displaced, wandering a landscape of ruin. The crimes were systematic, they were industrial, they were acts of unimaginable cruelty. And the world demanded never again. The Allies chose a public trial over executions. The United States, the United Kingdom, the Soviet Union, and France united to create the International Military Tribunal. Nuremberg was chosen for symbolism and for its intact palace of justice. In London, they drafted a charter, the blueprint for a court to prosecute crimes that transcended borders. Justice would be open to the world. Actions would be judged by law, not might. Where spectacle once stood, the rule of law would answer. An ambitious experiment, using law to confront absolute evil. An open trial with 4 judges, one from each major Allied power. Transparent and rigorous. The charges: crimes against peace, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and conspiracy. Simultaneous translation, a world first. Documents, witnesses, and forensic evidence formed the backbone of the case. The court was not for vengeance, but for process. Accountability would be decided by law and evidence, not anger and retribution. A new kind of court for a new kind of crime. They were not anonymous soldiers. They were the regime's architects, military leaders, cabinet ministers, diplomats, industrialists, propagandists. Each man had a name, each had a role. The prosecution built chains of evidence to personal culpability. Among them, a former deputy, an Air Force commander, flamboyant, intelligent, and others who acted defiant in court. But the mountain of evidence tested their confidence. These men were no longer symbols of power. They were individuals facing justice. Verdicts were individual. Death sentences for some, long prison terms for others, and a few acquittals. The case was not built on rhetoric, but on a mountain of paper. Meticulous records, signed orders, minutes, memorandums, detailed reports. The defendants' own words would condemn them. Who signed, who attended, who received. The paper trail was damning. Then came film, liberation footage shot by Allied crews. Images gave visual proof to what documents described. Finally, human testimony. Their voices transformed statistics into stories of loss, survival, and courage. Early arrogance gave way to humiliation. Emotional silence followed the atrocity evidence. Even those trained to be neutral reacted. Survivors and perpetrators alike confirmed the reality of genocide. The confident facade began to crumble. 12 death sentences, others to life or long imprisonment. A few acquitted, fairness affirmed. One defendant took his own life before hanging. Punishment without spectacle. The sentences were a solemn declaration that power could not shield guilt. The world heard the judgment. Crimes against humanity, a moral and legal category established. Launching an illegal war became a crime. Leaders could be prosecuted. Just following orders was rejected. Responsibility rests on the individual. These principles reshaped international law and the expectations of the world. They honored the victims with a framework that names, judges, and punishes such crimes. The trials forced Germany to confront its crimes. They gave survivors recognition and a voice. They educated the world about genocide. Nuremberg became a symbol of the rule of law. A global culture of remembrance and responsibility took root. The echo of testimony remains, long after the gavel fell. Never again became a promise and a duty. Nuremberg influenced tribunals for Yugoslavia and Rwanda and led to the ICC. Its principles are used to try dictators and war criminals. The debate endures. Selective justice versus universal justice. Courts continue building on precedents set in 1946. A permanent venue exists when nations cannot or will not act. Justice must reach even the powerful. Never again remains an ongoing global challenge. Nuremberg changed the world. It proved that even after the darkest crimes, justice can speak, and that no one, not even the powerful, is beyond the reach of the law. Never again.